Hey everybody, I know this is about a week too late, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on the roadmap real quick, the good and the bad, and I think there's actually more good than bad, but the bad's pretty poopy still. So let's get into that real quick, and I'm just going to pull up the roadmap right now. Let's go to the top here. So the player's journey, they're basically saying that they want to guide certain players into paths of progression, which is cool, especially for early game players. That's important. Since maybe you or I have done the campaigns and everything, that's changed, it's evolved, it's gotten a little bit easier. So new players need new pathways to get the teams that make it easier as a catching mechanic, and that's good. But so for ISO Blue, this is the first of their uh, pathways for the end game, and I think ISO Blue has been pretty awful on its face. Just the randomness of what you're farming and how you don't get enough ions to keep up with the ISOs that you get to pick up. I think that's really stupid, and it comes back to like the double bottlenecks. How gold is a similar bottleneck with ability resources, like your T2s, T3s, T4s. They doubled up on them. So there's two bottlenecks for a certain path of progression. I think that's always been bad, and it's to incentivize you to kind of pay to keep one of your resources in line with your other. So, like for the ISO Blue system, you'll get more ISO pieces, but then you're gonna use your cores or you're gonna buy ion offers for ISO Blue to keep up with what you're getting. And I think that sucks. I think that's really greedy, and I don't think it goes unnoticed by all the players. So I think they make a mistake when they try and double up on that and really expose their greed there. So yeah, that's ISO Blue. For player level 85, that's good. It's going to give us a new progression path for characters that we might already have at level 80. I think it's going to be really good for Doom 1.1. Unfortunately, when this gets rolled out, Doom 2 is going to come out at the same time. So it's probably going to be scaled to B for characters level 85, which means level 85 is not going to be strong enough to deal with Doom 2. But for those who are not on the cutting edge, I think this will help ease some of that difficulty, and I think that's great. Now, for characters, you should prioritize leveling to 85. It's always the same story. Do your arena teams, do your raid teams, do your war offense MVP characters, so like your Negasonic, X23, Longshot, characters like that, and just make sure you're making good use of your resources. The Orange Gear Economy Update, basically they're saying they're going to increase the availability of orange pieces. I think that's good. The amounts you need to go from a character from G14 to G15 is insane. You think about catalysts, like 210 health catalysts, but we farm two at a time. And what I would actually like to see them do is say, we're going to crunch the numbers, like divide it by 10. So you need, say, 21 pieces. And then if they crunch everyone's inventory by 10 too, fine, but make these numbers mean more. Like games like Blizzard or Diablo or League of Legends, when they crunch the numbers, is to make things make more sense. So when we need 210 pieces, getting 2-3 pieces here or there, it doesn't mean as much to us as it would I would like it to mean anyway. So it's also harder to keep track of. It's just not a good system to have these inflated numbers for no other reason than to have big numbers. Gear tier 16. So it's going to be teal gear instead of orange gear. Now I think that's good because since they aren't going to crunch the numbers, it lets us do what we want to do with our orange gear that we have up to this point. Now, you're probably still going to need some orange pieces to go from 15 to 16, right? Like not all 6 pieces are going to be teal. So maybe hold on to your orange gear for now and get ready to bring the characters higher up that you really want as soon as it goes live. Again, your arena team, your raid teams, right? So I think it's good that they're jumping the 4th orange ring and going right to teal. I think that's going to benefit us more than hurt us, because I don't think they would let up on orange gear as much as we would need them to do to have meaningful progression across our roster. So for Doom Raid 2, this is going to be one of the primary ways to earn teal gear. Now, a lot of people are mad at that, but they kind of left themselves an out when they say this will be one of the primary ways. I think you can still expect it to be in the supply store, in the war store, and as RTA rewards. What I see when I read this line is they're probably going to take away the war orbs giving teal gear. I don't think they'll do the resources because they still want to use that store, but that's why they're unloading all these amazing characters at the war store right now, like Cull, Longshot, Bishop, You know, there's all the staples in there that have been great, like Carnage, Sif, needed for legendaries, Pyro, all that kind of stuff. So I think your war resources, the tickets themselves will still be good, but probably not the orbs. And you're going to need tier 2 ISO blue to even get into the Doom Raid 2. Now Cerebro kind of confirmed in his video with Philosopher that it's not going to be blue tier 4 or 5, which is good because that's insane and super unattainable. But I would expect the worst case, it's still going to be ISO blue 3. So start either hoarding now or building up your teams for the raids that you know are going to be useful. And that's really only Secret Avengers and Astonishing X-Men. Those are the only two, like, surely safe teams to put your ISO blues on and know they're going to be useful in Doom Raid 2. Symbiotes, there's going to be a couple symbiotes that I'm sure will be used, but we don't know which ones. Now, I'm assuming Symbiote, Spider-Man, and Anti-Venom, and Scream, but Carnage Venom we're going to see. There's a new Carnage skin, so maybe they're doing something to work around him, especially with his movie coming out. But I would hold off on all your symbiotes, building them up any further, and wait and see what Scopely comes at us with. Dark Dimension 5, Dormammu. So, pretty excited about this character. He's super strong in the comics. He's definitely not human-sized in the comics. And if you've seen Doctor Strange, he's a big deal. So it's really cool to see him. Now, it looks like we're going to have the same character traits, the location origins, so like City, Cosmic, and Global. But there also may be some additional requirements. I'm assuming an ISO 8 is going to be there. So you're probably going to be able to choose between doubling up on your Doom 2 characters and make sure they have the ISOs to go into Dark Dimension. They may not be the most optimal characters at the time, like say Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw is probably not going to be necessary for Doom 2 because we're going to have this new Warriors team. But he's also amazing in Dark Dimension. So if you want to bring a character like that, or Minerva or Ghost, they might slap an ISO requirement on there because they know that people want to bring those more efficient characters in. That'll be a decision you have to make at the time. I will personally just do my raid characters, and I'll take an extra 2 or 3 weeks to get through it because I'm fine with that. Some improvements that they're looking at making. Alliance War, they did a play test. It didn't come back favorable from the players, which I think is good. Some of the leaks were like Hangar and Cargo Bay doing things that interacted with your ISO levels to give certain buffs to your characters, and that kind of sucks. Then there was this buy 2 additional defensive rooms that didn't provide like score, or they didn't provide currency, or I don't know what they didn't provide. But you also had to buy them. I think every war with Stark Tech. Now Stark Tech is a pretty cool endgame currency. You get about 450 a day. And when you get to 6,000, you get to buy some Elite 4 credits. And I think a lot of players like that, and they don't want to have to dump those Stark Tech credits on War, twice a week or 3 times a week, however many times you go on War, and depending on how much you would need to buy those rooms. Real-time arena changes, these all look pretty horrible. I mean, reducing the time, cool. So when someone AFKs the entire thing, you only have to wait 1:15 instead of 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Like, it's not something we should have to worry about anyway. Bans will include roles and origin traits. So that's like your skill, mutant, mystic, bio. Like, there's certain characters that you might rely on even though you don't have their objectives. Like an Emma Frost kind of helps you get some turns in. So I don't really like that in roles. So like Protector and Controller and this just doesn't look very good. And then making objectives based on KOs and wins. So what you're probably going to see is Infinity Watch teams stripped of whatever role and origin that is blocked there. So maybe that'll help stop some Infinity Watch characters. But it sounds like if you're banning entire roles and entire origin traits, it's going to take out more theory crafting that it introduces by breaking up a team like Infinity Watch. We'll have to see how that goes, but I'm not too excited about that. They're planning an update, include improvements on how we progress. I think that's cool. Really, all Scopely needs to do is say all these objectives can be completed outside of RTA. Let it happen in Blitz Manual. People go do their Blitz Manual, have more fun with that than facing off in PvP. Economy, we've made numerous improvements to the availability of resources. Debatable. They continue to do it in the second half of the year. So that's pretty encouraging. I hope there's more gold. I hope there's more T4s. But something they need to look at is catch-up mechanics. And I'm just going to show you in-game real quick. a mechanic I think they just need to flat out get rid of, and that is ability, material, resources, whatever you call them. Right here, these greens, they're no big deal. You get them from campaigns, so like campaign energy. No one really complains about those. But when you get to the end game, you start struggling with these. If you're a super new player who skyrocketed through everything because they've kind of streamlined the process to get there, but they haven't fixed up some of the conditions of progression along the way. So for these blues, I don't even know where you get them. I have 21,000. I don't know if that's eventually going to run out, or if you get them from certain campaigns or what, but I've heard this is an issue, and that's a terrible issue. Now, like I was talking about before, there's two bottlenecks here. There's the blue abilities, and then gold. We've progressed far enough into the game, no one's going to be mad if you just axe the blue abilities, axe the green abilities, and yeah, axe the purple. The T4 abilities, keep those. You want to have that bottleneck. You want to keep certain amazing mechanics, characters unlock in their abilities behind that, as well as gold. I'm not a fan, but okay, it makes sense on a fiscal level, I guess. But these blues, drop them. There's no reason to have that. Same with the purple. Now, they introduced these orbs down here. So a green, a blue, and a purple. Look at that. So this is I think the most nefarious orb in the game, and let me tell you why. Because there's new Krakens that they know they can milk for money. Now the game is kind of relying on these new Krakens at the upper tiers because lots of OG players are retiring, they're getting burnt out, and these new Krakens are replacing them. They've priced this orb at 450 cores, but when new characters come out, these new Krakens that didn't have that U7.5 giant buffer haven't built up that purple cushion that people like I have. I think I have like 50,000 or something like that. And I think that's horrible, and they're milking these players in a way they shouldn't. Milk them on red stars or on shards or on something else, but not this. This is ridiculous. And in fact, just these three orbs increased. So there used to be like an ability orb in the milestone orb. And you got it and you were mad because it sucked. Now there's three. So there's 3 times the option of getting something that sucks, because all 3 of these suck. Don't get it twisted. They show T4s on there. It's not a lot. It's not worth it. Delete these orbs. They're awful. Delete the need for T1, T2, and T3 ability materials and just have it be gold. That is how they can do a major fix that I think most of the gaming community would be happy about. Anyway, let's get back to the blog. We're almost done here. Quality of life improvement, save squads. I think that's great. Could always use more save squads. It's kind of awkward that they're doing 40 save squads for Blitz, Raid, Arena, and Alliance War. I don't need 40 squads for raids. I don't need 40 squads for Arena. I guess raids you can make the argument for Gamma, but that's still kind of weird. Blitz, we're going to bust through that 40 cap, I don't know, 4 patches from now. We'll probably bust through that 4 or 5 patches from now. And then you see right here, cycling through save Blitz will... save squads in Blitz will cycle through the squad saved in your Blitz tab. So it's not like you can put more Blitz teams in raids, cycle so that system goes through your raid teams instead. It's just going to be, when you hit 4 down Blitz, you're going to be back to square one. So I think that's an oversight on their part. It should have been like 80 on Blitz, just because 20 on raid, 10 on Arena, and then 40 on Alliance War. They should have just broke it up more to have it make sense for what these modes need. This is just laziness on their part, doing a copy-paste, adding some kind of variable to make it a new tab. But cool. More save squads, always good. For me personally, I really look forward to having my Alliance squads and my Blitz squads separated. I think that's good. Auto basic combat. This is cool. This is going to be mainly useful for your symbiotes who might get kicked out of the raid meta anyway, and your Astonishing X-Men. And I guess all your teams when you're finishing up a node and you just want it to go faster. Just be careful when you use this. Make sure you're still doing at least your smart targeting, so you're not hitting the wrong target and then you're getting blown up along the way because you're not using your control abilities or anything like that. You're just using your basics, right? So I think it's good for certain teams, but I still think you should be careful doing it. Sort by character level. Cool. Some people are more excited about this than I am. I think I'm just more laser focused, and when I start a character, I don't stop it until it's done. So with this, I guess if you start a character but you kind of pivot off it and do something else, it'll still be up there in your roster, kind of looking at you like, hey, you started me, finish me up. So cool. And then the expanding API features. This is really good, and I think it's really necessary for captains and alliance leaders to have better tools at their disposal to recruit and keep this game alive, because the developers do a lot to make this game really cool. But alliances hold it together, and especially now that they're putting all progression attached to alliances, like your raids, your war. Really, the only two things you do separate are your arena, your blitz. I guess RTA, but I don't include RTA in game mode because it's a place you go to kill time, try and get these rewards while not enjoying a single thing. But they're tying the main progression around alliances, so they need to give alliances more tools to flourish and to stay alive and to keep players. So hopefully this gets out sooner rather than later. There's obviously a lot of interest because people like me are like, we need this. Alliance captains, like, we need this. Recruiting is horrible. And I mean, recruiting would be a lot better if they eased up on these progression for new players. Like, I don't think someone who starts the game today should catch up to me in 5 months from now. But a person who starts today, I hope can play with me at least in raids a year from now. At least, right? Like, we need people that start to be rapidly progressing to get up to the end game content. Otherwise, the pool of players for that dwindles and dwindles and dwindles, and then I don't know what we'll be left with, but I don't think it'll be pretty. I think we'll lose more and more players as alliances struggle to fill in, because they're gonna be like, I'm falling behind because we had 23 people for 2 weeks, and go to a different alliance and the same thing happens there, and I just don't think it's good. Catch-up mechanics are sorely needed here. Now we have the costumes. Absolute Carnage skin, great, looks sick. I love that comic arc. Kind of hints at Null, but that could just be a cosmetic thing. This could be Mephisto in WandaVision. It's kind of like the hints are all there, but maybe not. But I'm still excited. This is a really cool skin. And the Taskmaster skin from the movie. I love Taskmaster's character. I have no problem that they made it a girl. It was like a girl superhuman movie, and that's cool. Or sorry, superhero movie. And that's cool, but they did the character Taskmaster dirty, and they did that actress dirty too, by no speech lines, nothing like that, no personality. It was just some Russian weirdo with pheromone, like. So I have no sentimental value attached to this costume here, but the Absolute Carnage one I'm pretty excited for and look forward to getting that. So in the early 2022, so hopefully January 1st, there's gonna be a new game mode, Grand Tournament. Now that looks pretty exciting. Looks like a lot of fun. A lot of content creators are hyping it, like OMG and Reminex. I think that looks great. It's like a 1v1 war with a couple more things thrown in the mix. It's going to be fun. I just hope that the matchmaking is better than the matchmaking in war right now. Like, I'm in a top 30 alliance TCP wise. Like, me and my buddy just joined, and we dragged them far down because we're like 13 mil and everybody else was 15 to 18 mil. So we dropped them down pretty far. And we got matched up against Legion in a war, and that was 137 million punch up, and every single team that they had on defense was stronger than every single team I have, period. So if you start getting matchmaking against that, and then you have these grand tournaments that are unwinnable for you, it's not going to feel great. So I hope they implement something like shards, like arena shards. So like when you started the game, those are the kind of players you're playing against. I think that would be the most sense, make fun for people. I think it'd be a lot more work, and so it's not going to happen. So I look forward to facing off against Pipster and Fate's Fury and just getting absolutely steamrolled. But the game mode itself still looks like a lot of fun, so that should be interesting at the very least. There's going to be seasons and there's setup phase and everything like that, kind of like your war defense. It looks good, so I'm interested in that. Now, summary, they're working on some stuff and nothing's final, right? They say that for liability reasons, and that's all great. So I didn't hate this roadmap. I think they're leaning into the ISO requirements for everything, and that's going to cause friction with Alliance, so I hope they change that. The teal gear, one of the primary ways coming from Doom 2, I hope they left themselves that out, so when they get the reaction they're getting from us now, they can say, oh yeah, but it's still going to be everywhere else it normally was. Like, people in the Endgame Alliance says, yeah, they're going to get into Dark Dimension faster than you, but you're still going to get in there at the same speed you got into Dark Dimension 4, 3, 2, all that. So streamline the process, make it better. Don't make it okay for some, but awful for the majority of players, and I think that'd be very ill-advised, and I hope they don't go that route. But let's go ahead and end this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, like and subscribe. I'm going to come up with a war video probably in the next 20 minutes or so. So check you there. And until next time, peace.